On today's episode, you'll hear from an owner that knows you can't get there if you don't know where you're going. This is the Be a Marketer podcast.
Be a Marketer.
My name is Dave Charest, Director of Small Business Success at Constant Contact, and I help small business owners like you make sense of online marketing. And on this podcast, we'll explore what it really takes to market your business, even if marketing's not your thing. No jargon, no hype, just real stories to inspire you and practical advice you can act on. So remember, friend, you can be a marketer. And at Constant Contact, we're here to help. Well, hello, friend, and thanks for joining us for another episode of the Be a Marketer podcast. As always, grateful to have you here and grateful to be with the one and only Kelsey Carter. Hello, Kelsey Carter.
Hello, Dave Charest. Grateful to be here.
Today, we have the first in a series of conversations with Constant Contact community coaches. And I know, Kelsey, before you say anything, you're wondering, what the heck is a Constant Contact community coach? Well,
you beat me to it.
I know. Community coaches are distinguished members and leaders in the Constant Contact community who really go above and beyond, right? They showcase their expertise, they engage with others, and offer guidance to small businesses in our community, online community, actually. And over the course of these 6 episodes, we're going to be chatting about setting goals, email design, growing your list, creating multi-channel campaigns, reporting, and segmentation. So Kelsey, who is joining us today to talk about goal setting?
So today our guest is Tracey Lee Davis, the owner of Zingpop Social Media. So Tracey works primarily with women-owned service-based businesses as a social media coach and marketing manager. So she partners with her clients to help them get a better understanding of marketing online so that they can get more exposure, make more money, and look really great online. She's also a Constant Contact certified partner and, of course, a Constant Contact community coach.
Tracey, she started her business in 2014 after many years in the pet care industry, but she was actually really reluctant to do so. Let's go to Tracey as she explains.
I had been at the pet care company. There were 3 locations, 50 staff, 10 contractors, thousands of clients, and it was just so much. And I had been responsible for everything for the entire time that I was there. And I just was like, I don't want to start my own business. I don't want to be responsible for everything. I just want someone to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And this was back in 2013. And I applied for so many jobs, so many jobs, and I didn't hear back from anybody. It was so just sad. And there was an issue with the California Department of Unemployment. There was like a glitch. And so payments didn't go through 1 month. And something like 80,000 Californians didn't get their unemployment benefits. And I was one of them. And so it's like, okay, Tracey, you gotta get something rolling here because this is not sustainable. I mean, not that I wanted to just be on unemployment forever anyway, but obviously I'd been unemployed for 4 months or so at that time. And it's like, I need something that I need to feel more secure. So a couple of my friends had really been pushing me to start my own business. And it's like, all right, I'll just do it. And I am so glad I did. I love what I do. It's so much fun. Every day is a different day. And now 15 years ago, I would never have been able to picture my life not doing something with animals. And now I just can't imagine not supporting small business owners every day.
Well, isn't the secret to social media just like sharing animal photos anyway? So, I mean, I think you're probably right.
That is a big part of it. Yes.
Well, so, you're talking about loving your own business and all that. So what do you love most about running your own business?
Well, what's funny is that back before I was like, please, someone just tell me what to do. And now it's, now, though some days it definitely would be nice still having someone telling me what to do. I really do love that I get to set what happens with my business. I set all of my boundaries. I know exactly what I want to do. I work with the clients I want to work with. I get to call all the shots. And so if something isn't working in my business, well, that's my fault, but I'm also the person who can fix it. So having that complete control over my destiny is definitely, it's good. It works well for me.
Well, what do you find most challenging about it then?
One of the things that's so awesome about where I've gotten to at this point is that I don't feel like I struggle a lot,
Oh,
which I certainly did when I started. Being a brand new baby business owner is very daunting and overwhelming. I've been in my previous role for a decade. I had a tight-knit community of other people in the industry who all knew me. We were friendly with each other. And going from an area where I felt very comfortable, very confident, very knowledgeable to a brand new industry where I didn't know anybody and I didn't have this community around me, that was the biggest challenge for me, certainly starting my business. And now I have my community around me. I've found a home where I have that support. And so that's made all the difference in the world. It's not like every single day is a breeze, but I have created the business that I wanted. And so it all works out pretty nicely.
hmm. So, you mentioned community, and of course, you're also a constant contact community coach.
Indeed, I am.
What can you tell me about that role?
With the Constant Contact Community Coach, I was invited to take on a little bit more responsibility within the online constant contact community since I'm someone who I was part of the authorized local expert program when that was around and have just stayed connected to folks at Constant Contact. And I've been a certified partner for it'll be 10 years next year, so didn't quite start it as soon as I started my business, but got in there soon enough. And it really is so wonderful being able to talk with other people who do something similar to what I do, because we don't all do exactly the same thing. But having this group of folks who are knowledgeable, they have been utilizing Constant Contact and doing marketing for a long time too. So it's what I really love is that go into the community and see a question that someone has asked about email marketing or marketing in general, and somebody will have already answered, like Melanie. She does a lot of commenting and she'll say something great. And I'll be like, okay, I'm going to piggyback on something that Melanie said. She already gave you some really great ideas and here's another little extra one. So it's nice that, we've got this group of people who I trust to give good advice and sometimes struggle to be like, well, what can I add? But it is really nice to have a group of peers who, you just enjoy interacting with.
Yeah. Kind of a cool moment too. I mean, like when you think of how you kind of started and your introduction to constant contact and coming to training and learning that. And here you are kind of providing those services as a partner and then as a community coach. So we love that. So glad we've had such a long relationship with you too. That's amazing.
Yeah. Thanks. It feels very full circle.
Yeah. Right. Right. So, well, speaking of like, maybe things coming full circle. Sometimes you got to know where you're going to get to the end, right? And obviously that has a lot to do with setting goals as a business owner. And
Yes.
so when it comes to marketing, email marketing, social media marketing, whatever it is, a lot of times people wonder, what does good even look like, right? And so I think it's often a difficult question to answer because you actually have to kind of dig into a little bit more, right? Because the reality is if, we all have access to the same tools. And how we use them is actually going to really be based on what it is that we're actually trying to do, right? And so I think that's why it's important to set goals for your business, right? Those business goals really help you start to figure out, okay, what are my marketing goals, right? Then you can start to figure out, okay, what are the things that I need to implement? Are there things that maybe I need to improve, right? Like you start to get deeper into really figuring it out, right? And so I often also talk about this idea of there's this constant state too of what you're doing with goals. It's just in terms of like, reviewing what you're doing, making a plan based on what's working or maybe what's not working to kind of help you reach a particular goal. And then I think even maybe the most important part is really putting time on your calendar so you can actually execute on whatever plan that you've come up with, right?
What?
And yeah, exactly, right. And I think even as we start thinking about, you're starting to close out one year into the new year, right? This is all really important stuff, particularly important now as we start moving into the next year. So Tracey, I guess my question to you in all of that is, what does the goal setting process look like for you and your clients?
Sure. Well, the big thing that I think everyone needs to think about is that my goals may not be the right goals for you, and your goals may not be the right goals for somebody else. They're all very personalized, individualized. I talk to some people and they say, oh, my goal is to bring in new clients. Some people say my goal is to just get more exposure. So there's no right or wrong goals per se, but the core of all of your marketing efforts should be your overall marketing goals. You should always be working towards something.
Yeah.
And so, it could be that you are trying to drive new or repeat business. Maybe you are just looking for more engagement on your social media. Maybe you want to be increasing your sales or your donations if you're a nonprofit. But knowing what it is that you are trying to accomplish is the first step. So if you just kind of have this vague idea of, I want my business to do better, well, what does that look like? So think about what the goals are that you have. I mean, in order to think about the goals that you have, you want to be thinking about the marketing objectives that you want to be working on and what you want to be doing. And so thinking about who is your ideal audience, like who are you trying to reach? That's the first thing that you need to figure out. Because again, I once was talking with someone who has a coffee company, and he was saying, "Oh, I want to reach everybody that drinks coffee." It's like, no, you don't, because you are offering a higher end product. So the person who gets their cup of coffee at the gas station every morning is a very different person who goes to a place like Starbucks or Pete's Coffee and gets something really fancy versus just a cup of black coffee in a styrofoam cup from any place on the corner. So, you need to think about who it is that you are trying to reach. And then you want to be setting real numbers of what is it that you're trying to accomplish. Having something that is measurable. Something that I learned from Constant Contact is if you're not measuring, you're not marketing. So you need to be able to measure whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish. So in that, you've got to set real numbers of what you want to do. So I want to get X amount of new clients. I want to have X amount of new people join my email list. I'm looking to sell X amount of my courses, whatever that might be, that specific number. And then you want to think about a time frame to when are you going to accomplish that goal? Because if it's just never ending, then you never know if you accomplish your goal or not. But if you're saying, I want to bring in 10 new clients by the end of the year, that's something that you can measure. And when you get to the end of the year, did you bring in those 10 new clients? And if you did, awesome.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat. And if you didn't, then obviously you need to tweak some things and go about it again in perhaps a slightly different way.
Yeah. I like too, when you start to really get into like the timeline and the numbers, where it really actually allows you to kind of break down things in a certain way where you're actually able to break it into smaller pieces and say like, okay, like I can remember a time when I first started at Constant Contact, actually, and I was managing the blog at the time, and we were talking about like, what do we want to do from a growth perspective for that? And then it's like, all right, we picked a number, then we kind of backed into it. So we need this many visitors per week, right? I got it down today. Like if we're tracking towards this, so you can really kind of keep an eye on it, and you have an idea of what the trajectory is. You're going to hit that, you're going to come close, you're beating that, right? So you can again review and kind of make those adjustments as you need to. So that's a great point there. So I want to recap some of the things that I'm hearing here. So one, right, goals really provide direction. They help you understand where you're going to go and what you need to do, right? Based on what it is that you're trying to do. And to that point too, goals are really personalized to your business and where your business may be at a particular moment in time, right? They're always going to change, and they're also going to be driven by the people that, or the audience that you're trying to reach as well. That's important. And then 3, really make sure that we have some way to measure results, right? Set some numbers and the time frame, because those things are going to really help you gauge whether or not you're being successful or not, right? And put some rigidity behind it in terms of like making sure that you get there within that set time frame.
Absolutely. You got it.
Tracey, thank you so much for spending some time with us here today, and appreciate your insights.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, friend, I'm going to recap that discussion on goals one more time. Number 1, set goals to provide direction. Well, how will you get there if you don't know where you're going? Goals help you understand where you're trying to go so you can figure out what you need to do to get there. Number 2, focus on goals that are right for your business. Goals should be personalized to your business, where you may be at a particular moment in time, and the audience that you're trying to reach. And remember, it's okay for goals to change and shift as you attain them, and your business needs change. Number 3, check in on how you're doing. Tracey mentioned one of the things she's learned from Constant Contact is if you're not measuring, you're not marketing. You've really got to review how things are going on a regular basis. So set some achievable numbers in a time frame in which you want to hit them. Then you can gauge whether or not you're being successful. So here's your action item for today. Once you've landed on some goals, share them in the Constant Contact community for feedback. Or if you need some help with your goals, you can ask in the community as well. I'll also include some resources for you in the show notes. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Be a Marketer podcast. Please take a moment to leave us a review. Just go to ratethispodcast.com/BAM. Your honest feedback will help other small business marketers like yourself find the show. That's ratethispodcast.com/BAM. Well, friend, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and continued success to you and your business.